Shit, man, we're running a little bit behind. I mean, only a few minutes, but hey, let me get comfortable. You know, I got my house shoes on and shit. They in here listening to some old G Dep special delivery. Yo, man, it's Christmas Eve, December 24th. This is the Michael Jackson Show, and we are lit, man. We're live on Track Talk Radio every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm in the headband today because my forehead is looking big as shit. It's shining. This shit is crazy, man. My hair is getting long. It's starting to grow up, so I don't have the front part covering how big my forehead is. So, you know, I got to wear my headband while I'm on the show. A little bit self-conscious, but also it's just ugly as hell. I look better with the headband. We're going to have a slightly wild show. I feel like my voice is going out, man. I feel like I was sick all last week, but I was just powering through. This week I'm lucky I'm on vacation. So I'm just, you know, trying to rest up, recover, hope, you know, do my normal stuff, but trying to kick this cough and this sore throat, all that good shit. But it's just me in here for now. We might have, you know, one of our crew members come through a little bit later. Cheese might stop by. But I don't know, man. Until then, it's just me. Like I said, they're just listening to the music. After the song is over, we're going to intro the show, and then I'm going to jump in, man. I'm watching Hawaii versus BYU, that bowl game. It's weird, though, because I think BYU is the home team, even though the bowl game is in Hawaii. I mean, I guess that's not weird because they do that all the time, but it's like, why not just let Hawaii be the home team? They're basically the home team. Like, what good does it do to have BYU on the stat sheet listed as home? I mean, I guess it doesn't really make a difference, but you can't really say that, you know, like the home team doesn't have home field advantage. The visiting team does, which is super weird. Like I said, it seems pointless to not just have them as the home team when their state is hosting the game. Like, they're literally on the island by themselves, them and the other team. They're the away team. So that's weird. Anyway, man, let's preview or intro the show, man. Excuse me. I'm slipping, man. I'm heavily medicated. I'm wilding. Hey! Yo, your man is back. It's Michael Jackson. You are now tuned in to the Michael Jackson Show. It's Tuesday, December 24th, man. Excuse my voice. My throat is a little bit, I don't know, man. It feels dry. You probably need to drink more water, but, you know, I'm coming off of a few days of an illness, but I'm bouncing back quite nice, man. Let me just stop the music. We're gonna restart this song anyway. But yeah, I'm bouncing back, man. I was feeling a little bit bad over the weekend, last few days. I know people look at me and they're like, well, how are you out and about and how are you going and all that? And I'm like, fam, I just get up and go. I still got shit to do. I don't have time to just sit at the house. I know it's probably recommended that my sick ass stay home because that's probably why I'm still sick, is because I don't actually, you know, rest and lay low and not do anything. But I am on vacation this week and next week. So this is the perfect time to heal up and just chill. So hopefully this little cold that I got, I'll be able to kick that before week's end. But we'll see, man. But thank you for tuning in, man. This is the Michael Jackson Show. We're live on Track Talk Radio. Like I said, we're here every Tuesday and every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Man, we're killing it. These are our last two shows of the year, which is pretty cool. We did, I think our show last Thursday was the 20th show. We're rolling strong, man. Basically, last week I was celebrating the fact that I hadn't been canceled yet. Sherry hasn't called and said, hey, nigga, your show is trash. Get off the air. So that's excellent news. Sherry, big shout out to you. Appreciate you letting me come on here and talk my shit. 20 shows, man. It's pretty crazy because I always wanted to be on radio. Um, and there's some people that when I used to tell them that, they would always say some dumb shit like, "Yeah, right, good luck," or "We'll see." Typical shit that people say when they're probably hating, or they know that it's like a cool idea, but they're upset that they didn't think of the shit first, or whatever the case may be. But um, it's pretty cool to be here now. There's still a lot of shit that I don't know that I need to learn. But that's the coolest part about this is that I get to gain so much knowledge. So hopefully after the new year starts and after we get to our 25th show, like I talked about last week, we're going to hopefully have a lot of changes by that time. After our 25th show, we will start to have some guest hosts for a few weeks. There'll probably be a different person, at least one out of the 2 shows every week. And then after like our 30th show, then hopefully we'll have a permanent guest. Permanent co-host, excuse me. Might actually have 2. But we'll see. I'm working on something. I have a couple people in mind. We got to see if they're willing to make that commitment. Because, fam, we're not taking days off, obviously. I'm working on Christmas Eve. What are y'all doing? Probably doing the same shit I've been doing all day, which is just chilling, doing absolutely nothing, being annoying as hell. I've been annoying myself. I've literally been kicking with myself all day, and I've been the absolute most annoying person in the room. That probably is not hard to believe, because if you've listened to this show, you can tell that I'm obviously a very annoying person. Probably someone you probably would be like, man, if I ever hung out with this nigga, I'd probably smack him dead in his face. Hit him upside the head with a Timbo or something. And I get it, because I have a tendency to be kind of annoying, especially because when most of the time when I'm just chilling in my off time, I'm probably smoking, thinking of random shit. And I come up with random conversations. Sometimes I just be talking to myself, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I mean, I'm doing this for the show. This is for y'all. But most of the time, if you can imagine me sitting in a room by myself, this is kind of how this shit goes all the time. So, yeah, it might be a little bit weird, but I'm hilarious. I make myself laugh, keep myself in good spirits, but I can also be annoying as hell sometimes. So, let's get real annoying with it. Let's jump into the show, man. First, I want to start by saying I'm somebody that I think if you were going to call yourself the king or the queen of some sort of craft, you better have a pretty good resume to back that shit up. If you're going to say that about yourself, I think it's okay when we look at other people and be like, oh, that person's the GOAT at whatever they do, because we're praising them. We are praising them. But then you have certain people who like to call themselves the kings and queens of their respective crafts. For some of these people, this shit is just a job. It's not a craft. It's not really a passion. They're probably not even that good. They're just good enough to have the damn job. I'm one of those people that I think Jacquees is absolute. No, I don't want to say he's absolute trash. I will say this. Most of the time when I rank music, your shit is either hot or it's trash. It's hard for me to listen to a lot of Jacquees' music because of the fact that he calls himself the King of R&B. Now I'll tell you like this. Just off the top of my head, I can give you 5 quick names of people that I know are better than him when they're only at like 30 or 40%. And it doesn't matter if past or present, whatever, because he's saying that he's the king. He thinks he's one of the best. And my nigga, it's good to be confident, but I feel like you need to understand something, fam. You're not that good. So I'll take Trey over him, Chris over him. Trey Songz, Chris Brown. Fam, I think Avant is better than Jacquees. Bryson Tiller is somebody that comes to mind. These are not in any type of order. This is just, let me name 5. Miguel. Let me just name a bunch of random niggas that are sitting on the list higher than Jacquees. Now, I don't know who's number one. Some people will argue that they can think Chris Brown is number one, excuse me. I don't know about that because although Chris has classic records, a lot of his new material, like, I don't know. I don't really listen to it. Every now and again, like, I'll go through the tape or album, whatever he drops, and I'll scan it. But there's no one song that I was like, in the last 4 or 5 years where I've been like, oh, this one, that one was hot. But everything he put out was still more fire than what Jacquees was doing. So, I'm scrolling through the internet, doing what I do, basically being a bum. And I see this little article, and this is literally from like 2 days ago. And this article, I'm just going to read the title. This is from Hip Hop DX. It says, Jacquees, a.k.a. King of R&B, vows to remix everyone's songs in 2020. Jacquees, let me be the first. I'm not even the first to tell you. I know I'm not the first to tell you this. But let me be one of the first people to close out the year telling you this. Please, God, please do not go into next year remixing people's songs, fam. I know that there's so many people that love you. There's probably people that listen to my show that are probably scratching their head right now thinking, what is fam talking about? Jacquees is nice. Now, I'm not going to say every song he's ever been on is garbage. And I'm sure there are people who technically consider themselves R&B artists that he is probably better than. But I'm going to tell you like this. As an avid R&B listener, I don't know those people's names. So I can't say that those people are below Jacquees. But I know enough about Jacquees and all the other major players to know that he is nowhere close to being the king. Now, if you think of like the setup of a kingdom, right? And you look at it as maybe it's like a small little city. And there's levels to the city, right? The king obviously sits at the top. So there's got to be people that are in charge of shit at the bottom. Jacquees to me would be like if the sewers had a leader. So all the people that stayed in the sewers, like all the niggas that make R&B music, but it's not good enough to be above the sewer. So everybody's trash. All their music is garbage. He's the king of that. And I know that this is hella disrespectful. And I'm sure people are going to say something to me about it. But I'm telling you like this, man, I don't care. Because I heard some of these little remixes that he was doing for a while. And I'll say like this, fam, you don't have to do it. We don't want to hear you whining and crying on every single song. And even when like his actual music drops, it's not even all that hot. Now, maybe I've mistakenly heard the songs that he's put out that have not been that good. And maybe there's something I'm missing. If you feel like there's truly something I'm missing when it comes to Jacquees, email the show's page. And let's talk about it. Send me whatever your favorite Jacquees record is. I'll listen to it. Because I'd like to understand what I'm missing. Who else? Tank puts out better records than he does. Genuine is a classic R&B. Honestly, I talked about Casey from Casey and JoJo trying to make a comeback. I said absolutely no to that. And I would rather have Casey than have freaking Jacquees. If you can believe it. Now, weird thing is, I'm in here recording the show and my little light just went out. But either way, doesn't matter. The point that I'm trying to make to you people is that Jacquees is not the king of shit. His records are not that good. And honestly, my nigga, he cannot sing all that great. That's coming from a nigga who can't sing. Now, if you've ever seen my Snapchat, I spend a lot of time on there goofing off, pretending that I'm some sort of R&B singer when I am not. I don't even think Jacquees is better than that. Now, like I said, I'm sure people are going to hear this and they're going to go crazy. And they're going to say I'm being hella disrespectful. like I just said a few minutes ago, man, send me some of his music. If you really feel like he's that good, convince me. And then we'll go from there. But anyway, man, you were tuned in. We're live on Track Talk Radio. We're about to jump into some more music, and then we're gonna be right back. Excuse me. This is the Christmas Eve episode. There's been a lot of people that have texted me. What have they been saying? They keep saying Merry Christmas Eve, which I feel like that's kind of weird. I feel like this is the first year that I've gotten a lot of those. I'm really not sure why people are sending that to me, but it's very interesting. So I want to wait till Cheese gets here, and I want to ask if she's someone who's been texting people Merry Christmas Eve, because I feel like that's weird. Y'all should just save the shit and just text me tomorrow and just say Merry Christmas. All right? All right, man, let's jump into this music, man. We got some T.I. about to go out, some Aaliyah. What else we got? We got some Usher might come up, some Third Story. We got all kinds of songs that are going to be played tonight. But I appreciate you tuning in, man. Thank you for showing love to all my social media pages. The show is great. Feedback is great. Obviously, we're looking at ways that we can improve. So continue to send your feedback. Don't be scared. If you say something disrespectful, don't be mad when I come right back at you with something even more disrespectful, because that's what I do. All right? Thank you for tuning in. This is the Meaningful Jackson Show, and we are lit. Let's get it. Man, while this is recording, I'm going to keep talking, but I got to fix this light, bro. We got the set malfunctioning. I don't know what's going on. Ooh. Shit, maybe one day this will work. But who knows? We'll be right back. Technical difficulties. Man, I don't know what happened to that shit. Shit wasn't working. So that's why we need somebody in here. So we have a get a maintenance tech or something. A support team. So when the lights start malfunctioning, somebody can come in and fix the shit. But anyway, appreciate y'all staying with me, man. This shit is raw and uncut. We're gonna probably start editing the videos. The only reason I don't do it now is because my whole thing was that I wanted to remain as authentic as possible and show you everything that happens while we're recording the show. One of the things that I always wish when I watch my favorite artists or whatever they do is that you wish you could just see all of the moments while they're, you know, on their stage doing their thing. Because that's some of the reason why, like, I don't watch TV and a lot and like watch award shows and all these types of things, because like you're only seeing what they want you to see. So my thing was that I wanted to make sure that with my show, you guys got to see everything and it wasn't just bits and pieces of it. Because I think, you know, after a while, that shit starts to get old, which I'm sure this shit probably starts to get old too. You keep seeing people malfunctioning, there's dead air and all this type of shit, but we're going to try to fix it up, make it work properly, and try to keep it as real and authentic as possible. So that is the goal, man. But I appreciate y'all tuning in, showing all the love. Like and subscribe. The button, I think it's down there somewhere, or maybe it's somewhere up here. I don't know. Or maybe it's off to the sides or in the corner. I don't know. It's somewhere. So like and subscribe. Share this shit with all your friends. I'm trying to get on, man. We got a lot of people who've been hitting me up, yo. You know what's crazy? I actually had someone who reached out to me and was just like, yo, you're one of my new favorite celebrities. And I was like, you know what? I like that. I could get used to that. And don't worry, I'm not getting cocky, because I know that I'm nowhere close to being any type of celebrity. Even if it goes all the way to, you know, A-listers to Z-listers, I'm underneath Z. And I don't, there's nothing down there, but I'm down there with Jacquees' sorry ass. But that shit is dope, man. I appreciate y'all showing a lot of love. I don't know, man. It's just cool. Because like I said, this is just, it's not something random that I just wanted to start doing the other day. You know how some people come upon things like that and they're just like, you know what? I'm just going to start doing this. And then they do it for like 6 weeks and then they quit. Like for me, this is something that I've been wanting to do for the longest time, most of my life. Like, you know, I think I talked about it on one of my earlier shows. Like, I remember wanting to be on the radio as a little kid. I always just thought it was so funny because the guy that was on the radio in the area that I grew up in, his name was Nick. Nick at Night. It's on 93 BLX. Oh, you say, we used to bring that back. Nick at Night, bring that back. That's what it was. But even from those days, man, being as a young kid, listening to the radio, this is something that I always wanted to do. So it's really cool when you get to hear people provide some good feedback, give good compliments. And so I like to talk about that and touch on that often because I want people to know that I am very grateful. I'm not somebody that takes the feedback lightly or doesn't listen. I think it's important because you got to hear that shit. But it's also important to stay as humble as possible. There's a lot of folks out here that are not humble, and I refuse to become one of those people. That would be bad news for me. So, appreciate you. Shit, man. Let's see. What else we got? We're about to talk in... We're going to talk about the Office creator, Greg Daniels. Greg Daniels is thinking about rebooting the show, which you guys, if you know me very well, you know I'm a big Office fan. We got our little mini Dwight bobblehead, our Dwight pop toys. Shit, I got a Dwight Schrute pillow. Just got a brand new Dwight hoodie for Christmas. I got a lot of Dwight stuff. But he is the best character on the show, besides Michael Scott. But I think it would be pretty cool if they try to reboot it and get all original cast members, which I think is the plan. I'm not shocked that this has been brought up and that it's a thought. I mean, I think people have been talking about it for years, but I think now more than ever, even based on like our current climate around our nation, I think a lot of people see a show like that actually bringing people together. Just based on kind of how raunchy it is and, you know, how over the top it is sometimes, I think a lot of people will find it more humorous. We might get to a place where people can kind of start to laugh at things again rather than always being so uptight and so serious. But I think the only way that you're going to make this show work is if you actually bring back all the original people. If you try to do something where you got all these random people and try to do all this new shit and make it all different, I think you will. I mean, obviously, it'll always forever be a classic, but I think you'll end up losing a lot of like the original fans, which that's gonna happen with anything. I mean, and people in Hollywood, they reboot everything because they are too lazy to come up with new shows and new shit. So I also wouldn't be surprised if they did reboot it and did a bunch of different stuff and then the whole shit flopped. But I just hope that they understand the value that the show holds in its purest form. And I hope they don't try to redo it. There's so many things that are popping up that are like that I'm just fingers crossed and praying that they do not reboot. And if they do, I hope they do it the right way. Because we've seen what happens with some of these reboots. Y'all tried it with Charlie's Angels. Trash. What else got rebooted recently? I heard Cats wasn't very good. They did that. Big screen Cats. Trash. I'm telling you, man, some of these people, they need to learn to leave some of this shit alone or leave it where it's at. It's okay if Cats stays on Broadway for the rest of its life. That's where it's meant to be. Not everything has to go to the big screen. You know what I'm saying? So, Office reboot. I don't know how I feel about it. We'll see. I need to see the script. Maybe I'll be on it. Maybe y'all can help me get hot enough to where I could be a character on The Office. Just a nigga that's out front begging for a job or some shit. Okay, hold up. Let's cut this music off and then get the show back on. Whoa. Let me cut that off. Let me cut that off. We'll come back to that record. What is that? Star. Blinded featuring Lil Wayne. We're gonna come back to that because that's a hot record. Shout out to my boy Esdo for putting me onto that record many years ago when we used to go goon cruising around Pensacola. For those of you who don't know what goon cruising is, fam, let me tell you. So, as a young boy, you know what? Let me not even start to say it like that, because I'm gonna give you the impression that over time I've started to mature, and now I'll be lying to y'all. And my goal with this show is to keep it as real and authentic as possible. So, for the longest time, I've been very immature, and I do a lot of dumb shit. I've toned it down a lot because now that I'm older, I just work, collect my money, and I stay at home. I do the show, I spend time with my crew. I keep it low key. But I have a lot of stories from bullshit that I've been a part of, things that I've done. I mean, you guys have heard some of my stories. It gets a little bit wild. So, one thing that me and my homeboy Esdo used to do is we'll go goon cruising. And what we'll do is we'll drive around Pensacola, and there's always random ass goons walking around. Wannabe little gangster dudes. Not all of them are wannabes. I'm gonna say that because I'm not gonna pretend like Pensacola doesn't have some real MFs walking around ready for the static. I get it. There's people. I mean, it's like that everywhere, even in Seattle. Seattle is one of the softest places I've ever been. But there are some folks that's really out here, living that ratchet life. We get it. But in Pensacola, the people are pretty funny because in the South, when you're riding around, if you yell stuff at people, they'll yell shit back at you. It's funny, right? Whereas like out here in Seattle, if you yell shit at people, they just give you this look, and then make you feel like an idiot, which, you probably are if you're just yelling out the window at people. So we'll ride around in my homeboy's car, and you just see random people on the street. And listen, I've had it done to me before. So it's and I have to say that because I don't want people to hear the story and be like, damn, this guy's just an asshole. He's just out causing problems and being annoying. Well, I'm always annoying, but we'll go around and we'll yell stuff out the window at people. Like one of the things we'll yell, get a job, asshole. Like if you see people just walking down the street, just doing bullshit, we'll yell that at people. And I've had people ride by and yell it at me. It probably was my homeboy Shane, but it's happened to me just like it happened to those people. We used to do that. So he put me on to this record. Star is the artist. The record's called Blinded, featuring Lil Wayne. But he put me on to that record when we was out goon cruising one day. So the record is a good record, but has so much of that sentimental value just from all those days we used to just yell shit out the window at people. Definitely got chased down by some folks one time. And that's what we get for being stupid. The threat of violence was probably real. When the guy was yelling out the window, I'm finna kill y'all. And when he started chasing us, that shit probably was real. And we probably had that coming. But it is what it is, man. Shout out to good memories. Who doesn't love a good memory like that? But anyways, man, back to the show. So before we came back from the break, I was talking about the fact that Greg Daniels, he is the creator of The Office, which is one of my favorite shows. He actually is finally strongly considering rebooting the show, which I think is pretty awesome because I'm a big fan of The Office. Now, I will say those last couple of seasons or however many it was after Michael Scott moved off to Denver with his, human resources wife, Holly. When he did that, the show kind of went a little bit downhill, but, they seemed to have a pretty strong finish because you kept most of the original characters. And then also some of the new characters that they introduced actually weren't that bad. Now, my thing about this would be if you're going to reboot a show as big as The Office, you have to have all original cast members. And you're going to have Steve Carell. He's going to have to lead that shit. Especially when you think of, and I think it would be a good thing for our country, our climate, the way things kind of go. I think you need that type of lighthearted humor that The Office has. to kind of show you how people from all different backgrounds and walks of life can really get together, and how in the end it really is all about family and love, and being more of a village more than anything. But one of the things with the show is that they're very, I don't know, the way people act today, where they act hella sensitive. I could see how, like, if The Office was airing today, how people would want that shit to be canceled because they take everything way too seriously. But I assure you, the shit is stupid funny. If you don't like it, which I know there's some of my friends who hit me up, and I'm not gonna say your names because you don't deserve to have your name said on my show for the way you act towards me in this regard. But the fact that I have friends who will literally text me and go, "Hey, still waiting for the funny to happen." I don't like that shit. That shit is funny, okay? If you're not understanding the parts of the show that are funny, maybe you need to have your funny bone checked, pal. The shit is funny, okay? So, like I'm saying, if they're going to reboot the show, we need all original characters, which I'm sure wouldn't be hard to do because all of these people, I don't feel like anybody's really doing anything right now. No disrespect to them if they all have projects going, but it looks as though John Krasinski is the only person who's really out there doing his thing. I mean, what's his Oscars on State Farm commercials? Nobody knows what Stanley's doing. I mean, who knows what Rainn Wilson is doing? You can name all the characters. They probably just at home waiting for those new Office checks to start rolling in. So I'm hoping that one of my favorite shows does get the reboot, but the only way I want to see that shit is if they have all the original characters and they do the same stuff that they used to do without having fear of people wanting to have them canceled. Because everybody needs to be a little less sensitive and understand that there are these things called jokes. Some of us like jokes because we like to laugh. Laughter is good for you, and it can help you get through tough days. If you have a problem with people making jokes, maybe you need to see somebody, a medical professional. Okay? It's jokes, man. I had somebody tell me that I was being very offensive on my show last week for some jokes that I made. And I don't even remember what they were. But they're like, "Yo, I was really offended at some of those jokes you made." And it was about, I forget what it was. I think it was about that little girl who Juicy Smoothie'd herself. People were giving me a hard time about that, saying I was being offensive. And I kindly just was like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't give a shit about that shit, man. It's a joke. That's all it is. It's jokes. I don't understand where things went wrong to where all of a sudden it just seemed like a few years ago, anytime somebody said something, all of a sudden we got people who are rushing to have them canceled. Listen, y'all can't do what you do on Yelp to people in real life. You can't always do that. You can't just get pissed off, ask for the manager, not get your way, then leave a bad review and expect that everybody's just gonna like fall in line, be canceled, and then do what you're asking them to do. That type of shit is corny. There's a lot of you out there that are really hating. I see it all the time, man. People even on my page, like there's some of you follow me just so you can go onto a meme and then like type out the literal definition for whatever, said thing on the meme was, or like, try to like, I don't know, give some real life perspective. And it's like, bro, we're all here just trying to laugh. We don't care nothing about this shit that you're talking about. And yeah, to some degree, I do feel bad saying that because a lot of you have some really informative things to say. But why are you doing it when we're trying to crack jokes? There's a time and a place for all that serious shit, so you can save it. So, fingers crossed for an Office reboot. I hope the show is exactly the way that it was when it first came out. I want it to be raunchy, and I want it to be offensive because that shit is funny. And I want you guys to all laugh and enjoy that shit, not get so get your, what do they say? Get your panties in a bunch. Is that offensive? It probably is. Somebody is at the house right now crying because they're like, my panties aren't in a bunch. And they're like, nigga, I don't care. It's your dusty ass panties on. Them shits probably need to be washed. Got whole holes and all in them and shit, man. That's how some of you people be acting. You be acting like you walk around with holes in your underwear. That's probably why you're so damn miserable. You feel that breeze coming through. It's tickling the stuff down there. And, bacteria gets all on. That's why some of you also have that slight little hint of onion and something else you smelling like that. Yeah, we know it's you. Nasty MS. But anyway, you want to know what's real crazy? Time to get into my crazy stories. So, I heard about this woman the other day who she claims it was an accident. But it's not an accident. These are actual hate crimes that she's committing. Sorry, I'm trying to boost up my chair. But this lady, apparently, she's now run over 2 teenagers. And they're basically booking her as if these are hate crimes. This poor little white lady. Obviously, that was sarcasm. It's not poor her because she's a fucking idiot. Excuse my language. But Des Moines police said that this past Monday. On Monday, the woman charged with intentionally hitting a 14-year-old hit another child with her vehicle on the same day. This lady was literally out running over colored kids. This is how crazy this is. You literally have white folks that are so upset at the idea of minorities that they're willing to just ride around in their car and run them the fuck over. So it said, she's 42 years old. 42-year-old Nicole Marie Poole faces a second charge of attempted murder. Jesus. So they say allegedly. She obviously hit the kid. Poole allegedly struck a 12-year-old boy with her SUV. Jesus Christ. This is on December 9th. The same day, she allegedly struck a 14-year-old. Witnesses to the crash told police that the vehicle accelerated prior to the crash, drove onto the sidewalk, and hit the boy. This is the first person she ran over. She ran over multiple people in one day. Jesus Christ. It's like Grand Theft Auto. Poole did not discuss her motive for hitting the 12-year-old with investigators, but the child was black. I mean, does she need to discuss it? We kind of get the idea. If you have witnesses to the crash and they say that they can hear you revving up the engine and accelerating, and then you go onto the sidewalk, you're purposely trying to run that person over. There's no one can, just drives their car that poorly. You got a whole road there. Most roads have multiple lanes that you have access to. Usually, if you do want to get close to the sidewalk, there's a little bit of cushion, and then there's a white line, so you get, you have a full understanding of where you need to be on the road. Sometimes the roads have lanes for bikes, so you have to allow people to have the space to drive their bike, and then there's a whole sidewalk where there's even a curb that's elevated up from the main road that you drive on, so that way you don't mistakenly drive on the sidewalk, because that's where pedestrians walk. So in order for you to go up there, you had to have intentionally wanted to run that little boy over. And the crazy part, even though, the whole thing is crazy, but both of the victims are children. So this shitty ass white lady is out running or attempting to run over children in her SUV, her sport utility vehicle. That's what that stands for. She thinks running minorities over is a sport. Shit is crazy. Now, all the time, I always walk around with my headphones on. So sometimes I have to remind myself to keep the volume low that I can hear, so I can hear things around me. Because I'm afraid that one day I'm going to have the music up too loud and I'm not going to be able to hear that faint sound of an engine revving up as it drives 50 miles an hour right into me when I'm walking to the Safeway. That's crazy. Cheese is in the building. Cheese, hello. Welcome. Do you think it's possible that in Kirkland, Washington, I as a minority could be run over by a car?
I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's possible anywhere.
I don't know if it's possible to be run over just anywhere. I mean, you're not going to be run over by a car inside of a building.
Okay, but like on the street, on the sidewalk.
On the street, yes, it
anywhere.
is. It is likely to be run over by a car while you're on the street. I do get that. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is likely. I have actually been hit by a car before. So now
a lot of people have been hit by a car.
Now time for a funny story. You know, I don't know a lot of people that have been hit by cars, but I've been hit by a car. Actually, twice. My mom hit me with a car one time.
Maybe it's you.
And then that was when I was a kid. Well, hold on. Let me restart that. I don't know if she technically hit me with the car. I attempted to try to jump into the door, or not into the door, but into the car while the car was like at a slight move. So this is like when my mom was still driving a minivan. And so you know how in a minivan, like when you pull the door all the way back, it locks in place, right? So I told her I was going to run and jump in. And as she started to go, the door had come unlocked. So then when she moved forward and when I went to do the jump, the door hit me in the side of the head.
Why were you trying to jump in the car?
I don't know why I was trying to jump in the car. I figured I had enough athletic ability to do so. Now, this is another one of these times where, yes, I'm younger than the age of 10 at this point. So I'm not making good decisions, but I just figured maybe I had it. I was very athletic, and I figured if there's anyone who can make this jump in this family, it's me. And it was not.
No.
And it only happened because the door started sliding. And I was like, my mom said that for like a brief second. I was like pretty much knocked out. I obviously did not die because now I'm here today telling you this great story. But it was pretty wild to get hit by the door. So I didn't technically get hit by the car. Something on the car hit me as I tried to jump into the car. I was hit by the car.
You sort of hit the car.
I was hit by the car. I didn't hit the car. The car hit me. I jumped and then the car made contact with me. So the car hit. I was hit by the car.
You engaged the car.
I engaged the car, yes, but the car basically hit me. I didn't hit the car. Anyway, so we fast forward several years later. I'm living in Gainesville, Florida. That's when I was trying to chase my basketball dreams. And, a part of that is having to do things you don't necessarily want to do. And that's work BS jobs that, who really wants to go to school and work a job and try to play basketball and try to not be fat after nursing a broken foot? Who wants to do all that? Not me. But you know what? I had to do what I had to do. So I used to ride my bike to work. And so in Gainesville, Florida, down like where I lived at, in order to get to this subway that I worked at, I had to ride past the mall. And if you've ever been to Gainesville, Florida, this mall that's over there, the road it's up a little bit. So the mall, you kind of have to go down like a little decline to get to the mall or whatever. So when you're coming out of the mall, you can't always see all the traffic that's going, through until you get to the very top. But there's a sidewalk too. So I'm hauling ass on my bike on the sidewalk, and this guy pulls up too quick, and he hit the back tire of my bike, and I flew into the bushes. And I was hurt. My body, my soul, my pride, all of it hurt.
What hurt the most?
What hurt the most? Pride.
Yeah. Pride
and ego. And I was very embarrassed because I'm on a bike. When you're in college, I'm in my Subway shirt, I'm riding the bike. I'm not, I obviously was not getting girls. Mainly because my car did not work. That's why I was on the fucking bike.
Hop on the back of my bike.
Yeah, hop on the back of my bike, baby. I'll take you everywhere you want to go, and free subways as long as it's between the hours of 12 and 2 p.m.
Nobody went for that?
No one was going for that. I had zero game. And if that's what I was leading with, I should not be surprised why I was not getting girls in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was embarrassing to be on the bike and then be in the bushes. It was all so sudden. So, Buddy helps me out of the bushes, and then he does take me home. He offered to take me home. I was like, yeah. I had to take the day off. He has to call my manager because I'm freaking dazed and confused. Classic movie. But I'm sitting on the sidewalk. I'm busted up. Minor scrapes and bruises. But like I said, my ego and my pride took the hardest hit. So I'm all busted up. He calls. He ends up taking me home. But thinking about being hit by a car, it was a very unpleasant experience. And in that moment, I immediately flashed back to when my mother ran me over with the van so suddenly as I tried to jump into the van. So maybe it was my mistake both times. Kids, when you ride your bike, you should always wear a helmet. I was lucky that the backpack that I had on, when he hit me with the car, the backpack flew up above and over my head and actually was what I landed onto the bushes. If you can believe it's crazy. It went literally over because I'm flipping over, and it ended up over my head while I was still strapped on in front of me, and my face hit my backpack as I was landing in the bushes. Jesus. I'm a survivor, people. I barely made it out of those bushes alive. Think about what could have happened to me. I could have Fetty Wap'd myself, and I could have one eye right now because I landed on a branch or some bullshit like that. It was crazy, man. I got hit by a freaking car. And yeah, I was not playing, man. They were only giving us free subways from like 12 to 2.
That's it?
No, I don't remember. It was a very small subway. I can't remember what the streets were, but it was right next to it. I know it's changed since then. It's something different now, but it was like right next to was it like a Firestone or some type of like automotive place. And this subway was like the size of like a 1-bedroom apartment. It was not big at all. Very hot. It was awful.
You smell like Subway for hours.
Yeah, you smell like Subway for hours. I remember one time, tell me this is how grimy one of my managers is, right? So, this is before I was run over. I ride my bike to work. And I'm one of those people that even when I'm feeling sick, I would prefer to still show up and try to give you everything I got before I just stay home. If I stay home from work, it's because I'm really not feeling it. And there's the occasional, like, fuck this job, I'm trying to chill at home type of deal too. There is that. But it's, most of the time I'm like, I'd rather have the money, so I'll just go to work. So I ride my bike, and this is what happened to me. This is why after I open up like a Gatorade or anything like that, I never put it in the fridge and then try to drink it the next day. I either drink it in that moment or it's done. So the night before, I'd had this Gatorade that was in the refrigerator for like 3 or 4 days. So I'm like, oh, fuck, man, I'm thirsty. So I drink this Gatorade, right? I wake up feeling a little bit funny. I ride my bike to work, right? First thing I do is I tell my manager, hey, what's going on, man? I'm not really feeling all that great. And he goes, man, I get it. But, we all have things that, we're all dealing with stuff. It wasn't like really like a dick about it, but it was like, well, you're here, I get it, just do what you gotta do. And I'm like, okay, I get it, because I did show up. If I really was feeling that bad, I should have stayed home. And I thought about it 100 times. I should have stayed my black ass at home. So I'm halfway through cutting up all the food, and you gotta like prep the shit and all that. And I keep telling him, like, bro, I'm not feeling good. He goes, well, we're almost done with the prep, and then we'll see how busy it is, and then maybe I'll send you home. So, you know, after a while, I started to get frustrated because I'm like, bro, even as a black man, you could start to see where I was starting to get pale. Like, looking like the ghost of something. And he just, I can understand too, because it's the work. It probably didn't have a lot of people. The shift in the early morning was only me and him. And so, you know what? I got tired of this dude kind of giving me a hard time about feeling sick. And so the bathroom to this place is on the back side of the building. It's not like in the restaurant. You got to get the key and then you have to go around the back side of the building. So you know what I did? I tell him, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I get the key. As soon as I put the key in the thing and I unlock and I open it up, I throw that Gatorade up all over the entire bathroom. Very small bathroom. So you think of like a, you know, you're on a road trip and it's like a rest stop bathroom. It's like that. That was the Subway's bathroom. Disgusting. I threw up all over that motherfucker. And you know what?
You didn't feel bad about it.
When I walked back in, the GM or whoever's the manager above, like, you know, whoever was my boss at that time, that person comes in. I go, yo, man, I told you I wasn't really feeling good. I just threw up all over the bathroom. And then that person made that nigga go in and clean it up. So that's what he got for trying me that day. He should have let me go home when I kept telling him I didn't feel good. And I had to ride my bike all the way home. It was a hard 3 miles. I was dying. And it was farther than that. It was probably like 5 or 6 miles. But with the chance to get run over, if I would have known then what I knew after I was run over by the car, I would have called a cab or something. Because Uber did not exist back then. Your only option was cab, or you got to beg somebody for a ride. And there wasn't nobody who was going to give me a ride at that time. So, but yeah, that was crazy work stories from Subway, man. I threw up all over that place, man. I'm glad I did too. Taught that boy a lesson. I bet he was in there cleaning that shit up so mad too. And you know what's crazy? At the time, and I think I told you this story like last week. At the time, I was seeing this girl, and her really gross ass friend worked at a Boston market, and I was getting free Boston market every freaking night. So all the cornbread a nigga could eat, the mac and cheese, boy, I was killing. So I had that Gatorade, and I had Boston market the night before. So think about how bad it must have smelled in there when Buddy had to go clean that up. Oh, you damn right. That's why I threw up. It was because of that nasty Gatorade and all of the cornbread that I have been eating. That's why I'm fluffy now. Cornbread, it'll do it to you. But anyway, man, listen, we're through almost the first hour of the show. But either way, I just want to talk about it's crazy shit that this lady, she's 42 years old. She must not feel like she has a whole lot to live for. But she decided that she wanted to take it upon herself to try to run 2 children over, all in the same day. I hope they put her under the jail, man. This is crazy. In addition to the attempted murder charges, police charged Poole with violation of individual rights, 5th-degree theft, I don't even know what the hell that is, public intoxication, and possession of a controlled substance. What is that? That's meth, right? Usually if if you saw the picture, you'd be like, yeah, controlled substance, it's meth, okay? It can definitely be a lot of things, but it's more than likely it's meth. It's a guarantee, actually. She looks like, even in her jail photo, it looks like she's on meth. And you know that look. But yeah, that shit is crazy, man. Imagine you're just walking and somebody just is like, you know what? Fuck them. Time to get run over. And there's no way you can stop that shit either, because you don't know.
Time to run someone over.
Yeah, like I just, it's crazy that people just think that, like, they're having a bad day and they're just like, you know what? I'm done. They want to go run somebody over. Like, what possesses you in that moment to be like, fuck it, they're done? Like, even that one episode of Snap that I saw, where it was like this lady and her dude, and they leave. I guess they were like leaving the club or something, and they were in an SUV, and he was driving. She was in the passenger seat. This is her husband, bro. And then her homegirl is in the back, and apparently they were arguing about something. Dude gets out, and apparently She slides over into the driver's seat, and then on the security camera that's like literally across the street, you can see where he crosses in front of the vehicle, and she hits the gas and then turns. I should not be laughing. R.I.P. Big Dog. She turns the car and drives him into a freaking wall. It's her husband, bro. She ran the nigga over.
Oh, I saw that one.
It was on Snap. That shit was crazy. You saw that one?
Yeah, and then she tried to say it was an accident.
Bro, she tried to say it was an accident. Yeah. I mean, and it's hard.
It's hard to
maybe it was. Maybe it's just in the heat of the moment. You're a little bit too drunk. And, you know, something crazy happened. I mean, think about this crazy-ass white lady. She's possession of a controlled substance. She literally was on some type of something that altered her mental state. And then when she's operating heavy machinery, all of a sudden, she thinks that this is freaking twisted metal. And then she's trying to run niggas over with her SUV. Remember that game, Twisted Metal? That shit was lit. Me and Gabby used to play it all the time. Shout out to Gabby. That's my sister. Merry Christmas, my nigga. But it's just crazy to think that, like, the lady ran her husband over on that Snapped episode. And then I think she's in jail right now still trying to appeal because she's trying to say it was an accident. But then I guess her friend that was in the car, like, kind of played her. Because when she testified, she's like, yeah, well, they were in the car arguing. That was all the jury needed to hear. Like, oh, well, then she ran him over then. Like, because y'all were just in an argument and all of a sudden he's on the front of the hood looking like a hood ornament, but he's not moving. Like, it was crazy. She ran that security film. Oh, my God. So, shout out to these young kids, man. Hope they're all right. Imagine being run over at age 12. That's a crazy story to tell. Right before Christmas. How did 2019 end for you, young guy? Oh, well, yeah. Right before Christmas, I got run over. It's freaking crazy. Don't worry, pimp. I got run over one time, too, by my own damn moms. Anyway, man. We are through the first hour of the show. Thank you for tuning in, man. We are live on Track Talk Radio. This is the Meancool Jackson Show. It's lit every Tuesday, every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know, man. There's not a whole lot to really be said, man. It's December 24th. It's Christmas Eve. It honestly does not feel like Christmas. It just feels like Tuesday. And I like that. I don't know, man. We got one more hour. And then I'm going to go to sleep and wait for Santa. Do you guys think Santa's coming to visit me? Probably not. Santa probably thinks I'm an asshole. Hopefully, if Santa does come, he brings fruit snacks. Anyway, we'll be right back, man. Let's get into this music real quick. And then we're going to jump back into the show. It's lit. Man, I can't believe that lady ran those people over.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, she ran over 2 kids.
Yeah.
In the same fucking day. At least the cops finally caught her. Yeah, apparently she's accused of being involved in multiple hit and runs and racist tirades. And that's why they ended up busting her. Which I just think that shit is pretty crazy. But not as crazy as me being run over by my mom's minivan.
I contest that.
What do you mean you can test that?
You didn't get ran over by it. You got hit by it and you didn't help the situation.
But you know what?
You jumped at it.
I mean, the original plan was that she was not going to move. I was just going to, rather than climb into the van, I was going to get a quick little jog and just jump in. And then she just decided to move. When she moves the vehicle, the door automatically goes to slide so it closes. And then it just ended up trying to close on my freaking head. So she ran me over with the car. She didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
I'm sure she stopped as soon as she could.
Oh, yeah. When it looked like I was dead,
she was
just
like gonna keep going.
No, she didn't keep going. She didn't like run me over, then go backwards just to finish the job.
And she could have.
She probably wanted to, though. Knowing how I was acting back in the day, I could see everything in my mom being like, this is my chance.
I brought you into this world.
This is my chance to run this nigga over.
He jumped out
and
the
it's
car.
only us out here. There's no cameras. No one would know.
It'll look like an
It'll
accident.
look like an accident. Exactly. I wouldn't even have been mad. I would have been looking down from wherever, and I'd have been like, you know what? You probably had every right to do that. BYU versus Hawaii, tied up at 31 going into the fourth quarter. I have not really been watching this game. It's just really the only thing that's football related that's on right now. As you guys know, I like to watch sports while I record the show. I'm still kind of blown away the fact that it's Hawaii versus BYU. BYU is listed as the home team, and this is the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. They're in Hawaii, and Hawaii is the away team. That shit is weird. Why not just have them be the home team, since they're technically hosting the freaking game and the entire event itself? They're doing everything that's Hawaiian custom related. Both teams are. Like, everything about this is Hawaii. But they're the away team.
That doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense. It's a weird thing. What other stories do we have? Yo, this is pretty crazy. And there was a part of me, I said this to somebody who was really big into like going to church and all that kind of stuff, which I think is fantastic. Do your thing. But there was an article where it says that this lady, it says Christian woman who had been fired for refusing to work on Sundays was, Jesus Christ, was awarded $21 million in a lawsuit. So now you definitely don't have to work Sundays. So I'm talking to a friend of mine about this article. The first thing I say is I go, look at God working, because she got the money. My friend did not like that comment. And at first I was just like, well, it's a blessing, right? You're not going to, apparently because there was monetary gain, my comment kind of came off a bit asshole-ish.
Asshole-y.
But at the same time, like, if you're going to tell your employer that you don't want to work Sundays for religious reasons, and then they try to deny you, then you should sue them and try to get that money. And then when you get that money, based on how you probably believe, that's God working for you. You know? I don't know. 21 million, fam? Shit. Somebody want to give me 21 million? I'm always trying to think of ways that my previous employers disrespected me so I could try to put them on Front Street and try to sue their ass. But I'm one of those people that I just show up, go to work, do my thing. Sometimes I'm an asshole. If anything, they probably should sue me. So I'm just lucky to have gotten out of there alive every damn day without being in any type of trouble. So let me just be quiet. But 21 million?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Never working again. Or at least not on Sundays for sure now. No. And now, you don't have to worry about losing out on that bread because you got 21 million to spend. But she's probably going to have to call J.G. Wentworth, though. Because there's no one's it's your money. You want it now. We get it. But no one's just going to give you 21 million. You're going to have to take that in, small chunks. 10,000 here, 15,000 there. Yeah. And the government's going to be taxing that ass. You won 21 million. We need 19 of that. Yeah. Somehow, though, especially an old black lady, they're going to get her for that money for sure. What else we got? We got that story. I'm going to hopefully remember to talk about that. And then we want to talk about Tennessee, the state of Tennessee. Is Tennessee a state? I don't remember. It's redneck country, right? I don't know, man. I just don't know these things. Tennessee's introduced a bill to ensure that school athletes compete based on biological sex. And a lot of people will wonder, what's the significance of this? Why are you talking about this? Because I'm one of the people that believe that it is the most corny shit that these boys are starting to say that they identify as women and then they go to female sports to then dominate, but can't dominate against their actual gender, which is boys. No matter how they want to, slice up that pie, you were born a boy. You compete against other boys in sports, and because you couldn't do it and you still wanted to compete, now you're rolling with the ladies. And they got this one guy who's like 6'4" or something like that. I heard doing like wrestling or MMA, cracked a person's skull open or something, and there ain't nothing they can do. Oh, hold up. There ain't nothing they can do because of how they identify. Anyways, welcome back to the show. You're coming in on the tail end of this random conversation. We're going to get into the fact that Tennessee introduced a bill to ensure that student athletes compete in their respective sports based on their biological sex. So that was what I was just talking about. But before we jump into that, from the congregation, can I get an amen? Amen, brother. We're talking about this lady who battled against her employer because she refused to work Sundays due to religious reasons. And her employer did not like that. Shitty employer, obviously. Marie Jean-Pierre, a devout Christian who refused to work on Sundays, was fired from her job as a hotel dishwasher in 2016. And this is earlier this year, and I'm bringing this up because I love the fact that this happened for this lady. But earlier this year, this is like way back at the beginning of the year, she was awarded $21 million after suing her former employer, citing religious discrimination. Her opening statement, "I love God," she told NBC6 Miami. "No work on Sundays because Sunday I honor God. And now on Sundays, you will also honor thy bank account." 21 million. No work on Sundays. Listen, I already don't work on Sundays. I hoop on Sundays, so I do put in work to some degree, but I don't work. And I honestly, I don't feel like I should have to work Sundays. Not for religious reasons, but just because why the fuck should we have to work on the weekend? Why do we have to work so much to begin with? That's what I feel like we should have like 3-day work weeks, and then the rest of the week should be spent on self-care and time with family members to keep our spirits high. You know what I'm saying? And life would probably be less stressful, but working 5-7 days a week, yeah, I need to be taking naps and shit. I don't need to be working to begin with. But a shout out to my, to my homie, Marie Jean-Pierre.
That's how she said it.
I bet that's how she says that shit now. Mm-hmm. She got 21 million. Yeah, you better believe her name got an accent on it. Put some respect on her name. 21 million worth. Yo, that's crazy though. I always think of like, if I was to ever sue an employer, how do I go about proving, what I'm alleging, especially in my situation, being a really tall black man who doesn't smile, seems a bit, what's the word, abrasive? Is that a good word? Seems a bit abrasive. How would I go about proving something to get 21 million? And what hotel was she working for? Because I need to go work for them right now and just have a slip and fall right before the new year starts. I feel like that's a good idea. And I don't even want 21 million. I'm not going to be greedy and try to clean y'all out. I just need like 10 to 17 million. Something light. Nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Just a little to get me by.
Yeah, just a little bit of money to get me by, some pocket change, nothing crazy. 15 to 17 million dollars. I feel like that's reasonable for a slip and fall. And there's sometimes when I go to like Walmart, Target, any of these grocery stores, Safeway, wherever.
See a little puddle.
It's not even the puddle. If I see the wet floor signs and if I see someone in there like cleaning the floors, that is the perfect time to have an accident. Because they're in there doing it. So you can be like, yo, of course I fell. They're over there riding the freaking Zamboni down the aisle right now cleaning this shit. All shit's wet. Or especially out in Seattle when it's raining and shit. Mm-hmm. And if they don't have the carpets right at the entrance so you can dust off your shoes, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, let that whole floor get wet. This is exactly where I want to fall too. Right where everybody who's walking in and out of this motherfucker can see it. So that way we can have witnesses. And then you know what? Like I said, I'm not going to be greedy. I need 17 to 27 million. Something light. Just enough to get me by for the next 50 to 75 years of my life.
Wow, that's a big...
I think I could make 20 million last for 50 to 75 years. I don't need a whole lot. You know, you buy a crib, you buy the land, then you just have to pay the bills. I don't leave the house now. So if I had that much money, I definitely wouldn't leave the house. Run the radio station from the house. Build a studio in the house. I never have to leave the house. Except to go to the gym. Because I'm not putting a gym at the house. Because I would never use the gym. An in-home gym, I'd never use it. I have to be able to go to the gym. Because every now and again, I got to yell at the guy at LA Fitness for not unlocking the door before, you know. I think it should be 5 minutes before. Don't do it right at 8 or right at 5 a.m. 4:55, 7:55 is when the door should open at LA Fitness. I'm tired of it. 8:01, 8:03, opening the fucking door. Are you kidding me? I'm out here waiting for 3 extra minutes. How dare you? That's time I don't get back, fam. But if I had a gym at the house, I wouldn't be able to have that conversation with the front desk attendant at the gym. So if I was to ever get rich, I would not have a gym in my house. Never expect to come to my house to work out. It's not going to happen. Unless you got your own yoga mat. And you do a quick little home workout, I don't know.
Quick little push-ups.
Yeah, quick little push-ups or something, but for the most part, that's the only time I really get out of the house to go to the gym. So imagine 21 million in your pocket, all because you didn't want to work on Sundays. Now you definitely don't have to work. Shout out to her.
I mean, I don't want to work on Fridays.
Doing a quick little clap. I don't want to work any day. If we're just being completely honest, I don't want to work any fucking day. I'll do this for work, what we're doing right now, but I don't want to actually get up. And shout out to everybody who does it. I don't even work a hard job now, so I should not be complaining. I'm very blessed. I'm in a very fortunate position right now, so I'm not complaining as if like I don't value what I have. I know there are people who would kill to be where I'm at. And there are plenty of people who, even right now, on Christmas Eve, are killing themselves to make sure that they make enough money to provide for their families. I love you guys. I respect you. My mother was one of those people. I don't know what my dusty-ass dad was doing. He was in the military for a while, so shout out to him for he was working too. Everybody does their stuff. But I'm telling you, for me personally, I feel like if I am going to be forced to have to work, pay bills, pay taxes, and then die, I should be able to do that only having to work maybe 3 to 4 days a week. I'll give you 4 days. Short hours, though. The 4th day is a very short day. I'm talking 2, maybe 3 hours. Most of the other days would only be 5 hours max. Like, 8-hour workday? You guys really need 8 hours worth of stuff done?
That's too much.
Think about your actual workday. How long do you actually work? An hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 at the most. Some days it's gonna be more. But for the most of the time, you're probably just sitting there with your thumb up your ass. You're not doing anything. 8 hours? I have to be stuck there for 8 hours? Now, I love my current job. I'll go sit there for 10, 15 hours. If they want to pay it, hell, I'll take that money. But I've had other jobs where I would be an idiot to want to sit there for more than 3 or 4 hours. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's dive into this thing. So, and I know I said on the recording of this, if you watch it, you're gonna be like, what was he talking about? I talked about this. I guess there was this person in MMA who was once a dude and is now a girl who's competing in the women's side of MMA. And then, like, in one of the fights that I'm saying person, it's not to be disrespectful, but I'm in regards to the sport and based on who they were, I'm telling you straight up, I think that it's bullshit. If you're going to be, you were once a gigantic man and now you are pretty much in a sport where you get to punch girls. You are weak as fuck for that because you should have just competed with the men. But I don't know all the details, but I'm going to say from the outside looking in, it looks as if you were too weak to compete against men. And so you want to compete against girls, and then you crack some girl's skull open during a fight because of the power that you were able to generate as a man that she cannot as a woman. And you're starting to see this pop up in all types of sports everywhere where you have, and your lifestyle choices are your own. I fully respect that. But when it comes to sport, you need to compete where your biological sex would compete. If you are a 6'4" man who now identifies as a woman, you probably shouldn't be, involved in a woman's sport where your size and stature gives you a significant advantage against your opponent. Because that's not fair, right? We all saw that movie Joanna, man. How cool was that for him when he couldn't hoop with the guys, and then all of a sudden he's dominating the girls? Like, come on, man. We laugh at stuff like that because that shit is corny. And I think the girls hate it too. Why do they want to participate if they know they're going up against some guy who should be playing in the guys' version of this? Like, it makes it to where they're not going to end up having sports because it won't be fun for them. That's some of the problem when girls start to age up through sports. It starts to become less fun because it becomes too competitive. You're seeing that with a lot of kids. But now you're adding the element of letting boys who identify as females go participate in their level of athletics. No. Provide a space to where they have privacy in a locker room, but if they want to play sports, they need to play and they need to participate with their biological sex. I'm sorry, I'm just a firm believer in that because I think that it is super corny. Because then how are you proving it then? Like, do I just show up and go, hey, I no longer identify as a man.
Medical documents.
So if you have to document, okay, I get that, but even if you're being forced to document it, like, what if I'm going into my junior or senior year? I've played varsity all 2 to 3, 4, whatever years. But one of these years, I just decided that I want to be on the girls' team now. If I was like a 5-star athlete, I can just go to the girls and now I'm playing on their team now? So now I'm dropping 70, 80 points every single night on these girls. I'm 6'4", 235 pounds, but I just say that I'm identifying as a female and they gotta let me play. How fun will that be for them? How fun will it be for me? Like,
right.
I'm sorry. I would like to sit down with somebody who's participating in these types of athletics and doing this to get a good sense of where they're coming from with all this and how it makes them feel. Do you feel like good about dominating athletics in this way? Like, that would be my first question. Like, how does this make you feel? Like, are you able to recreate this same type of production when you go against the boys? But Tennessee is introducing a bill to ensure that school athletes compete based on biological sex. When I posted this, all I put on the caption was thoughts ? And a lot of people got on it. Okay. And most people seem to be in agreement. They think that it's only right. Now, looking at a lot of the people that were commenting, I know a lot of them do have daughters who participate in athletics. And as somebody who hopes to have kids one day, I would probably feel some type of way as a parent if my daughter was competing in girls' athletics and there was somebody out there who, like I said, if you identify as the other sex, more power to you. We love you for that. Be yourself. But I think when it comes to competition in sports, we know that there is a significant difference. I don't think it would be fair to see, like, I don't know. I guess I got to keep using myself as the example. But like, if I'm a parent and I have a daughter who's in high school, I don't want to see a nigga who looks like me walking onto the court.
That's not what they look like.
But no, not just about the look though. But like, if this is a basketball game, do you really want my big ass coming out there against girls who are 5'2", 5'3"? In there, you know, even if we're both 17 years old, all the only difference is now I'm saying that I identify as a girl, and then I'm going out there with them and I'm kicking the shit out of them. Like, that's lame. That's not competition. You're not competing at that point. If you're just gonna go out there and dominate them, like they had the one lady. I'll call her a lady, as I don't want to be disrespectful, but she's out there winning those wrestling titles. Come on, that's a dude. Wrestling girls. If I'm wrong, I want somebody to educate me and tell me where I'm missing it. But I truly believe when it comes to sports, there just needs to be a difference. If you're going to... What? Go ahead.
You're not wrong, but when people formally go through a sex change, they also take like hormones and things that like change their... Like,
do any of these things change your bone structure?
Maybe not your bone structure.
So then,
like,
then it's done for me.
No,
it's done for me. After that, it's done for me.
A woman bone structure that's just as big as you, but if they don't have like some of the like male hormones, they might not be like able to get as big as you, or they'll be like leaner.
Okay, so a lot of you probably can't hear. You can't hear what she's saying because she's too far away from the microphone. But basically, what she's saying is that when they go through the sex change, that they got to take hormones. That we're saying, take hormones and all these other things, so it does alter the body state. I get that part. That's been explained to me. I'm still looking at it from the simple fact that you were once a boy. Even if you were taking pills or doing whatever to alter your body so that way it starts to take on female characteristics, right? Is that okay? So I can say that even if you were doing that, if you're working out and you're staying strong and doing all these things so you can compete in sports, you are still going to have a significant advantage over your opponents if you were once a boy and now going into the stage of a female. I can't be wrong in saying that. Right?
You're not wrong.
I mean, honestly, some of these situations, it'd be like, it's like me playing against middle school kids. Like, is that fair? Is this fun for these people? I'm just saying, I wouldn't want my daughter to have to be like, Dad, I hate this. I don't want to play anymore because now they're letting boys play in my sport. But they're not letting girls play in the boys' sports, right? Even if there are some girls who would be like, I'm good enough to beat out some of these boys on freshman or JV or even the varsity teams, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, whatever. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, those coaches are not letting those girls have the same opportunities that those guys do. So now just because some young boy says that he identifies as a woman, even if he can provide proof of it, whatever you're talking about, whether there's documentation or doctor's notes or whatever the case may be, even if they're able to provide that proof, how fair is that? I don't know. I like what Tennessee's doing. I think this is going to be, I don't know. I just think to some degree it's important. It needs to be done. Because I hate to see all of these young ladies who are basically now saying F sports and they don't want to play because now it's as if men just want to have another thing. That's how based on what people have explained to me, that's how some people are taking it. It's just another thing that men are trying to take over. And that shit is corny. You don't want them to get to the point where they hate sports. Like, they should be able to love their sport and be able to know that they're going to play against other females. If we're going to mix the sports, then you just need to have like co-ed leagues for every single sport. And then try to find a way to make those as popular as the footballs and the basketballs and all that type of stuff. You're going to have to blend that up to where it's a little bit better than intramurals. But even then, How fun is that gonna be? Because then you're gonna have like all these like limitations on it, especially when it comes to co-ed. Like I don't know, it's gonna become very messy. But either way, Tennessee is introducing this bill. It's meant to prevent gender-confused male students from competing against girls in school athletic programs by making state funds contingent on schools adopting a biological understanding of sex. HB 1572 says that all publicly funded elementary and secondary schools in the state shall require for an official or unofficial school sanctioned athletic or sporting event that each athlete participating in the athletic or sporting event participates with and competes against other athletes based on the athlete's biological sex as indicated on athlete's original birth certificate issued at the time of birth. So that right there, it makes it pretty cut and dry. If you showed up and you even I don't know, even if you had like I almost said something really stupid, but I can't say that because I actually know that person. I don't want to receive any backlash. But if you guys can all think of a famous person you heard of who showed up with both parts supposedly, even if you have that situation and your parents decide that they want to, give you one or the other, they're literally looking at what's on the document, not what's done after the fact. I think that's key. And that's going to be very important because you're going to have some of these people show up and then be like, no. Ever since they were 6, they've been saying that they were a female. And you're going to be like, yeah, that's totally fine, but your son is benching 355 pounds in there right now.
Sorry.
Yeah. Come on, man. I think they're doing the right thing, man. I don't know. Maybe I would feel differently if I had a child who was going through this where they felt like they identified with a different gender and they went through the whole process and they wanted to do these things. But I think even then I would have a hard time supporting them in athletics if they were like, well, I don't want to go try out for the boys team. I want to go play on the girls team. I'll be like, but why? Why would you want to do that? If it's not going to be competition for you if you already know you're going to dominate, especially because in most cases, it's not always this true, but in most cases, the boy is more physically dominant when it comes to athletics, the way they move, the body, all that type of stuff. It's very different. Like, come on, how do you think a person gets their skull cracked open in an MMA fight? One of the people involved has to be physically stronger than that other person. Either that or the person has a weak skull.
How do you get a weak skull?
Yeah, no one just has a weak skull, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's skull is pretty standard. But if you're able to generate a lot more power than your opponent based on the fact that you were once a man and you punched the girl in the head and crack her head open, like, people are going to feel some type of way. So, I know we're ranting and raving. I probably sound like a complete idiot. Please feel free to reach out and educate me if I'm saying something stupid or there's some things that I don't know about. But I'm just telling you, I firmly believe that boys do not need to participate in girls' athletics. Leave that shit alone. If you're not good enough to be on the boys' team, then you're not good enough, fam. It's okay. Sports aren't for everybody.
Pick up something else.
Yeah, go do something else. Because it honestly, if you really want to play that bad, regardless of what you decide to do with your sexual orientation or anything like that, if your talent and your skills prove that you can play on the highest level, go play on the highest level. So you should go participate with the boys. Right?
Don't you want to prove?
Yeah. Show and prove. Sports is all about competing. Like, you're not doing yourself any favors by, basically, I don't want to say playing down leagues, because girls' sports is very competitive too. It is very, very competitive. But we can't sit here and pretend that in most cases that those, when you look at the two sports, like that girls are much more dominant than boys sports. It just does not happen. I feel like we all know that that's true. So even if you get offended, I don't want to hear nothing about it. You can look at it, you can see how it goes. In most cases, the boys stuff is much more competitive. And maybe it's just because of how we place value into it and the way that, marketing and sports, all that type of stuff goes hand in hand. They definitely promote men's sports a lot more than they do women's, and they probably should not do that. But when you look at football, basketball, all that from an athletic standpoint, in most situations, men's sports are much more dominant than women's. Just facts. So I just don't understand why somebody wants to have their high school or even a middle school son participating in girls' athletics. That shit is just weak to me. Or if they're saying maybe their kid is not good enough to compete with the boys their own age, if we're, just saying that it's okay for them to go down, or not go down, but to go participate in girls' athletics, then it's like, what are you saying to all the girls who are working their asses off to compete in that sport, on that basketball team, on that softball team? So if a guy doesn't make the boys baseball team because he can't hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, it's okay. He can just go play softball because maybe it's like they throw it a little bit slower. He can hit a little bit better. So then like the numbers will look better. Like, is that what we're going to start doing? Like, it's okay if you didn't make this team because you weren't good enough. We'll just allow you to go do something else. Like, you find a way to circumvent the system. Like, that's pathetic. Let me stop talking about this, man. This will probably be the reason why I get canceled. People are probably going to say that I'm highly offensive and I'm hating on people. Again, I want to reiterate, I am all for people doing their thing. Your sexual orientation, whatever you want to do, that's on you. I want you to be happy. If you spent your entire life feeling like you identify something else, hell yeah, my nigga, do that shit. Rock that shit. Kill it. That's what you should do. Be you. Be happy. But when it comes to the sports thing, man, I'm tired of seeing guys dominating girls' sports, winning championships, and then us like propping them up like they're like really, really good, superior athletes. Like, fam, if you're not doing that against the boys, like, and you were, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I just come from a different time. Like, we weren't doing all that.
A different time.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, when I was in high school, we had a girl who played on the football team, but she had to go out there and kill herself to make the team, go to practice every day, go get hit by motherfuckers who do all that. She put herself through all of that work. But what are we saying to like the boys who like go through the trial and then don't make the team? Like, and then, but I'm
that's
saying,
not like why.
No, I know. I'm not saying that's why I'm saying, if they're already feeling like, hey, this is how I identify, but I want to play sports, are we not at least requiring that they go through that process? Or are we allowing them to skip going the route that all the other boys take in regards to, low-level amateur sports, whatever you want to call high school athletics? We're telling them they don't have to go do all that, and then they can just go to the girls' side and then go dominate and win all their championships. Like,
what people are saying.
I guess it depends on who you ask. You're probably right. People probably aren't saying that. I'm just telling you how it can potentially be perceived.
Yeah.
Because when you start to like open the door, and now things start to get a little bit different, and now there's all these changes, you're gonna have people who are going to try to find ways to abuse this system so that way they can have some sort of gain from it.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, that's basically all I'm saying. It's just a slippery slope. Obviously, these are people or individuals who feel very strongly about how they identify, but they also still want to be able to do what all kids want to try, or most kids want to do, which is participate in athletics. I think that's awesome. Do that shit. But do that shit the right way, because there are a lot of young girls who get very upset by this topic because it lessens their opportunities to actually dominate their respective sports. That's all it is. Go watch Joanna Man. I'm only bringing that back up again because I'm literally just remembering how funny that movie was.
Because you just want to watch it.
Because I kind of want to watch it. Is that, you think that's on Disney Plus? That's not a Disney movie though, so it's probably not. I don't know. I remember it being so funny. For some reason I was hoping that was a Disney movie, but I know that it's not.
No.
Why was I thinking it's a Disney movie? Because it has like the same type of like.
I think you're just hoping that it'll be on Disney Plus.
I don't know. It's like the equivalent to Like Mike. Like they're like equal in, you know, sports movie greatness. Not great at all, but like good enough for Disney. Like Air Bud is like higher up on the list of basketball movies than Joanna Man.
Oh, Air Bud.
Air Bud was lit though. But like, what if my dog can hoop? Like the dog can't play on the team now? don't let me get into that, man.
No, we're not.
Don't let me get started on that, man. Because if I had a golden retriever that could play basketball, and then they denied my little golden retriever the opportunity to play, I'd be very upset. What I gotta do? Enroll him in dog classes just to get him on the team? You ever think there'll be a day when we start letting animals hoop, like play on the team?
I mean, that dog's really good.
Nah. Yo, I kind of feel bad for ranting so long on that shit, but my next rant is even crazier.
Let me move on.
So, this is crazy. So, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about a story where we all know R. Kelly's incarcerated, and he's basically, like, it feels like there's different charges every week on him for something. A couple weeks ago, they finally came back and tried to get him caught up for, I think somehow he finessed his way into marrying Aaliyah. So they wanted to try to get him caught up for that. And now it says, there's some article, I'm going to read the headline of this article. It says, inside R. Kelly's secret marriage to pregnant Aaliyah, who was 15 at the time. Says the singer flew her to Chicago and paid a welfare worker just $500 for a fake ID saying that she was 18, so that way he could obtain their marriage license. This is in a book. So apparently someone wrote a book about this. Though, obviously, I wish Aaliyah was still with us for many more reasons outside of this, but this would be the perfect time to have her come out and really give us, like, this is what really happened. Because I feel like it, based on, you know, what we know about her and her character and all this type of stuff, she would not have been the person to, you know, mince words or do anything like that. It would have all been real. They would not have been for any type of money grab. It would have just been to, you know, this is what happened. Let me clear this up for y'all. And especially now with him being locked down, it's creepy to see this picture of him and Aaliyah with her at 15 and him at however old he was. I think he was like 22 or 23 or something when she was 15 and they married. And he looks crazy young, but he still looks way, way too old for her. If this is something that he did just to marry her, man, that is freaking crazy. Right now, R. Kelly is 52. They're saying that he paid, a welfare employee $500 to fast track Aaliyah's photo ID in his bid to obtain a marriage license. This new book is called A Case for Murder, The Aaliyah Files, by Bryn Kurt James Hammond, and it's shedding light on the night Kelly pulled off the stunt with a scared Aaliyah in tow. That's a quote. I guess they had charged him with bribery over the alleged paying off of a government employee, and this is in August of '94. So we're in 2019. And they want R. Kelly canceled so badly that they're willing to go back to 1994 to pull things. Hey, motherfucker, remember when you did this too? Yeah, we added that shit too. We know you're already in the jumpsuit. Yeah, you're already in the jumpsuit. You're already handcuffed. You're already about to spend the rest of your life in prison. Now, I will say, that Jail album probably gonna be hard. And it's probably gonna sell 50, 60 million copies probably. R. Kelly will probably buy most of them, but yeah, I do. I think if he cuts an album from jail, I bet people will listen to it. There's a lot, even, you know what? There's a lot of people still bumping R. Kelly. I'm looking at my iTunes thing the other day, right? You know how you have people, well, I don't know if you use iTunes, but you have people that like also use it and you guys can follow each other and all that. There are people who I follow and that follow me, and there are people who are still actively listening to R. Kelly. Because I think most people can separate the music from all the trauma that he's put all these young women through. Some people can, not everybody can do that. And I fully understand and respect that. I'm somebody that, for me, it's different. The music is the music. His music will always be kind of classic. It's kind of crazy that we probably won't ever hear another album from him. If we do, it's going to be, you know, how the recordings through jail telephone sound. It's going to sound like some shit like that. But this is crazy that they're willing to go all the way back to 1994 to get people brought up on charges. They want R. Kelly gone that bad. Yeah. And honestly, man, for everything that he's done and been a part of, I can't say that I blame them for wanting to do that. Yeah. But this shit is crazy, man. So in Illinois, marriage age requirements are 18 and 16 for those with parental consent. Kelly is also called up an old friend who worked at FedEx and convinced him to lie and say Aaliyah worked with him, according to this book. Kelly has been held without bond in Chicago since July and will stand trial in federal court in April on child pornography and obstruction of justice charges. Bruh, he's been in there since July. Trial doesn't begin until April. Yeah. I can't imagine that even if there are some of these charges that get dropped, like, I mean, can you imagine? What if he beats this again? Because this is not the first time that he's had to do time behind some weirdo shit that he was doing. And I remember when all this stuff like rose up again after Oprah made the documentary, or whoever did that, Lifetime, whoever was a part of that. I remember when all this stuff popped up, and one of the first things that I said to people was, why are y'all surprised by this? And why are we waiting until just now to get him? And people are like, oh my God, how can you listen to R. Kelly and da-da-da? I'm like, because since the first time that he got caught doing this, he's made like 4 albums since then. Like, no one cared that much. We still allowed him to be famous and be in a position to make big money. New. None of this shit is new. We always knew that he was a creep. We always knew that. So now that he's actually just been locked down, he's been a freaking civilian since July. And I say that because before he was able to move around and, you know, like royalty, because he was R. Kelly. He's this famous R&B singer. There's so many albums, a lot of classic hits. And, you know, obviously he's famous for, you know, helping us discover Aaliyah to some degree, even though I think Aaliyah was discovered because she won like the Apollo when she was like 10 or some shit like that, because she was just that talented. But there's always been this thing where everybody knew that R. Kelly married Aaliyah when she was still a teenager. We all knew that and still paid for the albums. So even if he's been a creep this entire time, why are we all shocked and surprised? Why were people not just more mad at the parents for feeding into it? Like, it's not like people didn't know he was a creep. We all knew. He's already been in the jail and through the court cases and all that. Like, do y'all not remember that shit? Do y'all not remember seeing him walk out of jail in that dusty ass suit? And he had his little afro or whatever it was. Like, remember when he went from being R. Kelly to Robert? And then after he was acquitted, he went back to being R. Kelly. And now he's just Robert.
Is he Robert again?
And now he might even be, he's less than that. He's fucking Rob now.
Yeah.
Because now there's no way that he escapes from this shit. Especially with that. I honestly, I did not see the documentary. But the way that people talked about it, I don't think there's a way that someone could, even unless they just have not seen it, I don't think there was a way that someone's gonna be able to like take those things into consideration and not want to put him in the jail. Even if you haven't seen it, you're kind of just like, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying that it must be true. This shit has to be true after all of these years.
Everyone's pretty much in agreement.
Yeah, we're all in agreement that you're a fucking creep. F-U-G-G-I-N. Yeah, I mean, bro, my man's in jail right now for child pornography charges. These are girls that he said that, you know, he had permission to be with. Apparently there was like videos and all this type of stuff. These like little girls, bro. This is a grown ass man who's making millions and millions and millions of dollars every year, but not wanting to actually mess with grown women. You want to talk about just screwing up your entire, like, why would you do that? You're gonna use your power, your fame, your fortune, and you're doing all this to impress the teenagers? I mean, have any of you watched any of the music videos from like the late 90s, early 2000s? You see all of those girls? Even think about some of R. Kelly's videos. I'm sure he still smacks a lot of those women. But to think you were really passing up on some of those girls for like girls who still got to go to school the next day, can't afford to miss third period any more than maybe another 2 times this school year.
You got a problem.
Like, you're literally like scouting from like the local high schools in your area, bro. With all of that money you were making. It's a damn shame, man. I wish R. Kelly, and I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but I wish when he felt these urges, even at a young age, if he had been successful and then realized that he felt this type of way, I wished he would have used his money, his power, his fame, all of that to actually seek help and try to get this shit fixed and rectified. And maybe in 2019, you'd be enjoying Christmas with your family and not with 2 or 3 other, 2 or 300 other niggas that's screaming how they didn't do something or that they can't wait to get out and see their baby mama Brenda. Yeah. Big Brenda. Shout out to all the big Brendas of the world still putting money on niggas' books when they know they're not ever coming home. But damn, man, R. Kelly ruined his whole life. All because he want to mess with some little young ass girls. Bro, it's not worth it. Anybody who's rich out there, it's not worth it. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to get into this music and close out the show. Yesterday was a very big day for the city of Seattle. Very big day. I'm going to say this. I'm not a diehard Seahawks fan.
Oh, really?
I am only a fan to some degree, because I have some acquaintances who played on the team, obviously. One of my best friends from childhood, he played on the team. Shout out to Mr. Baldwin. He had a great career, all this good stuff. Very successful. One of his former co-workers, teammates, has now decided to rejoin the team. Marshawn Lynch, great running back. He played for my favorite team, the Buffalo Bills. He went to Cal. He's one of Oakland's finest. He's, good dude. If anyone who's ever met Marshawn will probably say this. He's just so real that, he's somebody that you're always cheering for. You have to respect him just because he is so real. Great dude. Big day for the city.
We're all very excited.
Everyone's very excited to have him back on the team. And then there's me, who, although I love Marshawn, the last time I saw him was at just a small little function, listening to him tell stories. He's stupid funny. It's nonstop laughs. He's a beast at his position. And I know that the Seahawks lost their two, Rashard Penny on IR. Chris Carson is now on IR. Procise, somehow he ended up on IR. They literally have nobody. So I get it. Why not bring back one of history's best running backs for sure? If anyone knows anything about football and knows about running backs, average shelf life for any NFL player, I think, is like 3 years maybe. 3 years. Running backs even shorter. The fact that Marshawn played as long as he did was a freaking miracle based on what he does. He literally seeks out punishment, tries to run over people, gets tackled, play after play after play after play. Very durable, very great player. For some strange reason, though, Seahawk fans think that by bringing back Marshawn Lynch that they're now going to win the Super Bowl. They play their last regular season game coming up this week. They play against San Francisco 49ers. 49ers have a really great defense. They're one of the best in the league at stopping the run. They do a pretty good job at defending the pass. I know people really want the Hawks to do well, and I hope that they do too. I know Marshawn said that they have unfinished business. I hope they make it all the way to the Super Bowl, and at the last minute, Pete either has to decide between pass or run, and I hope this time he goes, hey, 24, we're running. I hope he does that. That way Marshawn can finish his career the way that they should have won the second Super Bowl. We want them to finish it out like that. But if we're being honest, even with the help that he's going to give you in the backfield, the Seattle Seahawks do not have enough to win the Super Bowl. And all day yesterday, you guys all sounded the same way Dallas Cowboys fans sound. You sounded like some fucking bozos, okay? Now, I'm in the presence of a Hawks fan. I know many Hawks fans. I'm not saying you guys are stupid or you are bozos. I'm saying you sounded like bozos for pretending, and I actually saw people type this. This is a direct quote. I'm not, like I said, I did not talk to this person, so I don't know if I can say their name on the air, and I don't want to embarrass them in any type of way. Not that I feel like this would be embarrassing, but I give everybody this respect. If I don't talk to them, I still want to talk about them on the air. I do not say their name. But direct quote, literally from a friend of mine. The Super Bowl is now locked up because we got Lynch back. They literally said that.
I will agree with you that people are dumb.
The Super Bowl, come on, y'all.
Can't lock us all in together. Lump us all in together.
You're not going to the Super Bowl, okay? It's okay. You're gonna be. Listen, Sunday will probably be lit. Or what did they play on Monday night? Sunday night. The Sunday night game was probably gonna be a really lit. A lot of hype. Marshawn's back. Sherm plays for the 49ers now. And now he's going to have to probably tackle Marshawn. There's going to be so much intrigue. You're probably going to have a ton of former players come out. I mean, Robert Turbin's back on the team. So, you have former guys coming back. I'm sure the whole stadium was going to be sold out because it's going to be a game. But the whole shit is going to be crazy lit. So we know it. But you're not going to the Super Bowl. Okay? What did A-Rod say a couple years ago? RELAX. Relax. You're not going to the Super Bowl. But you are going to want to wake up tomorrow morning and watch this show as you watch your kids open their Christmas gifts and you watch all your money get thrown out the window because in 2 weeks they're not even going to want to play with the stuff anymore. It's December 24th, man. It's Christmas Eve. We're lit. I'm sorry. I'm being kind of a Grinch. I do wish that I had some kids to, share this holiday season with. If I had my own kids and I could play pranks on them. I do have a dream where one day when I'm a father, I play a prank where they all come in on Christmas morning and all this shit is just gone. And I'm like, yo, we got robbed, fam. They come down, they see me, I'm all busted up, And I set the whole thing up. It's obviously it's all fake. But I set it up like it's a clean robbery, and I barely made it out alive. Because I want to see if in that moment they'll be happier about me being alive, or if they're going to be more sad about their gifts just being outside on the back porch. They're still going to have Christmas. But
they're traumatized.
But in that
now.
moment, I want to prank them, because that's what I'm going to do as a father. I sound like I'm going to be the shittiest father of all time. And I love it. So, thank you for tuning in, man. It's been a fun show. This is the Me and Cool Jackson Show. We're live every Tuesday, every Thursday on TrackTalkRadio.com, 7 and 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for all your feedback. Again, shout out to all the new fans of the show. If you and I have connected this week and we've had any type of conversations, I appreciate your time. I want to make sure that I always communicate that to people, because nobody is entitled to give anyone their time. Those are active choices that people make on a daily basis. So thank you for your time. I definitely appreciate you. Like I said, this is not the last show of the year. We will be back on Thursday. So tune in at 7 p.m. We will be here. This is the Me and Cool Jackson Show, man. We are lit. We're about to hear some Usher, Lil Freak, and then that's going to be the end of the night. We might have time for one more song after that, and it's probably going to be by Third Story. If y'all know anything about them, they had an old record called Get With Me. I want to say in the video version, they used like the remix that had Joe Budden on it. So you should check that out. Third Story featuring Joe Budden. Get With Me. That's not the version I'm playing though. So anyway, we out, man. Merry Christmas. Enjoy it. Hope you enjoy your time with your families. Be good to people tomorrow, man. Enjoy the smiles, because there are a lot of people who are not getting that opportunity. So do not make tomorrow about any type of drama. Enjoy the day. Life is beautiful. Love you guys. I'm out. Man, we was in here rambling about bullshit, man, but that's the show. It's over, man. If I could reach it, I would do it from right there, but if my arms were long enough, I would have turned it off from right there. But hey, we out, man. I'll see y'all on Thursday.